On the edge of a peaceful village, surrounded by green hills and colorful flowers, stood a tiny little cottage. In that cottage lived two sisters, Mangita and Larina. Although they were sisters, they were very different from each other. Mangita was kind, hardworking, and always ready to help others. Every morning, she woke up early to clean the cottage, fetch water from the river, and help the villagers with a warm smile on her face. Larina, however, was selfish and lazy. She cared only about herself. While Mangita worked hard, Larina spent her time admiring her jewelry and complaining about everything. One chilly morning, dark clouds covered the sky as Larina walked toward the river carrying an empty basket. As she reached the riverbank, she noticed a tiny old woman sitting near the water. The woman looked weak and tired. Her walking stick was broken, and she shivered from the cold wind. The old woman looked up and softly said, "Dear child, could you please help me? I hurt my leg and cannot walk home." But Larina frowned angrily. "I don't have time for you," she snapped. The old woman gently asked again, "At least, can you give me some water?" Instead of helping, Larina cruelly kicked the old woman's walking stick into the mud. "You are just in my way," she shouted. Then she laughed and walked away proudly, leaving the poor old woman alone beside the river. A little later, Mangita came walking toward the river carrying fresh bread and herbs in her basket. Suddenly, she saw the old woman sitting weakly by the water. Mangita quickly rushed over. "Oh no! Are you hurt?" she asked with concern. The old woman nodded sadly. Without wasting a second, Mangita wrapped her warm shawl around the woman's shoulders. She offered her fresh bread and cool water from the river. Then Mangita searched carefully through the muddy riverbank until she found the old woman's bag and broken walking stick. She cleaned the bag, repaired the stick, and helped the woman stand again. The old woman smiled kindly. "You have a very pure heart," she said softly. Suddenly, something magical happened. Golden sparkles filled the air. The cold wind stopped blowing, and the river began to glow brightly. Mangita stepped back in surprise. The old woman slowly transformed into a beautiful magical guardian wearing shining silver robes. "I am the guardian of the river," she said warmly. "I travel through villages to test the kindness hidden in people's hearts." Mangita looked amazed. The river guardian raised her glowing hand, and instantly beautiful flowers bloomed everywhere around the riverbank. Then Mangita's empty basket magically filled with fresh fruits, sparkling jewels, and shining gold coins. "For your kindness and compassion," the guardian said, "you shall always be blessed with happiness." With one final smile, the magical guardian disappeared into the glowing mist. That evening, Larina saw Mangita's basket filled with treasure. Her eyes widened with jealousy. "How did you get all this?" she demanded. Mangita gently told her everything about the old woman and the magical blessing. The next morning, Larina rushed back to the river, hoping to receive treasure too. Soon, she found the old woman sitting beside the water once again. This time Larina pretended to be kind. "Oh dear old woman," she said with a fake smile, "do you need help?" But the old woman already knew the truth inside Larina's heart. Suddenly, dark clouds filled the sky once more. "Kindness that comes from greed is not true kindness," the old woman said firmly. A strong gust of wind swept across the riverbank, and Larina's basket flew into the river along with all her precious belongings. Larina fell to her knees in shock. Then the magical guardian looked at her seriously and said, "You still have time to change your heart." With that, she vanished into the mist again. Larina slowly returned home, feeling ashamed for the first time in her life. Tears filled her eyes as she looked at Mangita. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I have been selfish and cruel." Mangita smiled gently and hugged her sister tightly. "It's never too late to become a better person," she said. From that day onward, Larina began helping others. She worked hard, shared with neighbors, and slowly learned the true meaning of kindness. And in the little cottage beside the glowing river, the two sisters finally lived together in peace and happiness forever.